Hey there, this will be a short static tutorial for novice and intermediate players on how to play static. I'm currently Nova Static Season 4 and I've been helping people in the Voltaic Discord, and I've noticed the same issues popping up for everybody, and I'll just like to condense it into one video and use it to educate people in the future. So this video will be split into 4 different parts. So for part 1 we'll be looking at the technique. So for the technique, when moving your mouse, you want to move it at a constant speed, you want to glide it pretty much. Imagine you're doing a smoothness task, so like VSTP, centering, Vi. For all the target distances, you want to lock in a speed and keep it at that speed. And this is where the dynamic pacing comes from. As you approach the target, you want to decelerate a bit, but don't slam on the brakes. You want to slow down just enough to make the hit confirmation easier on the target, and then click when you're certain that you're on the bot. The moment you click, you want to glide straight to the next target and repeat the steps. Fluidity comes from being able to weave through the targets rather than stopping on a target and spending more time on the hit confirmation. The ideal perfect static technique is a perfect initial flick onto the target, but as we're not good enough for that, we'll try and get as close as possible to it, which is this method. So for part 2, this is about finding the right speed to flick at. So you want to find the speed where you have full control over your mouse. It might actually be slower than you think. The key thing here is control. If you're unable to smoothly land on the bot, you're moving too fast, you need to slow down. In the next part, I'll explain the reason why in greater depth. So for part 3, flicks suck. That's the title of it. So you might be wondering, why glide? Flicks might seem correct, but they introduce many errors. The farther away you flick, the harder it is to land directly on the bot, which means higher error chances. And then you'll have to micro adjust, which takes up precious time and defeats the whole purpose of the flick, which is to be faster than a glide. So instead, for this technique, we flick at the same speed for further targets too, because if you use normal Bardo's method, the speed of the flick is completely ruined by the long time spent on the micro adjust. By completely eliminating flicks, we promote perfect technique from the start. This way you can build a perfect foundation without picking up any of the usual bad habits from using the Bardo's method. And part 4, the final part, will be optimizing the runs. So this part is only necessary once you're able to do the base technique properly and you want to push your scores further. At this point, VOD reviews won't be needed, as the feedback given will always be one or multiple of these. So number 1, you want to try decelerating your landings a bit later. This means that you just get closer to the target before slowing down. The second thing is you want to move on to the next target earlier instead of lingering around to make sure that the bot is dead. And the third is you want to stick to the areas of the map with more targets. This minimizes your downtime and keeps the tempo up during the run. Only once you feel like you can't do any of these can I recommend increasing the glide speed. This is the absolute last part and should only be done once you've finished everything else. As a reference, I'll be showing VODs of runs with great technique at Plat, Diamond, Jade and Master Pace. You can clearly see flick speed is just not that important. And on a quick note, I don't force straight lines as this feels unnatural in my experience, and it forces me to focus on things that really aren't needed. I normally aim in small arcs because it feels more natural to me, but feel free to find what works best for you. How can I improve my raw smoothness? Well, you can either do raw smoothness through the TSK benchmarks, which is basically just centering in every direction, or you can improve smoothness through scenarios like WhisPhire, ControlSphere, PGTI, and SmoothBot Voltaic. This technique can work on anything from about 30 to 80 centimeters with no problems at all. As for my tension during the runs, I like to be relaxed. Some tension is alright. And finally, are there any resources for technique improvement? I recommend that you start on larger target scenarios to get the smoothness and the deceleration down. Afterwards, focus on your precision with smaller targets. I have created a benchmark following these guidelines that will be linked in the description. You will do a run with your normal technique and put the scores down. Afterwards, you will change to the technique in this video and note your progress in the sheet. The technique is incredibly overpowered once mastered, and is used by top static players such as Ziondo, Renzi, Draco, and Slapped. I'll also be linking their channels in the description if you want to watch any of their VODs. This technique can also be applied in dynamic clicking, as it is essentially a watered down version of Snowi's dynamic technique, which is explained in a Matty video, which I'll link in the description too. And that is the end of my static tutorial. I hope that this has helped in some way, and I hope you have a good day.